I don't know the exact number, but the H1N1 infections this year in the US are lower. Most of the infections are. I don't have the numbers with me, and I don't want to say give a wrong number. Okay, but I think if you go to the CDC site, it will be available. No, I can't. I hate to give a number that is not correct. Okay, but there's been an increase in. There are more cases this year than in the previous years. But the striking thing is, majority are H3N2. The thing for you is H3N2, and there's a mismatch. Okay. But to go back to your question, I would recommend even now, and I think that while it's going around, I think one should take it, because to generate an immune response after you get the vaccine is about 2 weeks. Okay. So it doesn't take 6 months to generate immunity. So if I was in India right now, I would go and get the shot, if you can afford it and if it's affordable and it's available. Probably not, I hope not, but again, it's hard to predict. Again, part of this will be when the weather warms up substantially, it will decrease. There is an aspect of seasonality there that will come into it. And I think these suggestions that I made, and I'm sure hopefully they're being followed here, that is, sanitation, some public health measures will decrease it. Looks like there's clearly a lot of awareness, and I think that I'm very pleased actually by the interest of the media, because I think that the media can play a big role in influencing what the government does. So in addition to, my messages would be, one is the public health measures which are currently being used should be increased and implemented, and I think as a public service, I think everyone should, as a good citizen, should encourage those activities. You can educate your neighbor, or you can educate somebody who's sitting next to you in doing these things. The other is, there is a vaccine that's available that's not 100% effective, maybe 40-50% effective, and is safe. So I would say, okay, I may not be guaranteed that I'll be protected completely, but there's no harm, and I would take the vaccine. Also, protection is measured in 2 different ways. So very often when people talk about protection, they refer to protection only if you get no disease whatsoever. Okay. But what is not appreciated is that sometimes the vaccine doesn't protect against infection or clinical symptoms, but it greatly reduces the severity of disease. So you might still get sick a little bit after you get the vaccine. That is, if you get infected, okay? But you probably would have been much sicker if you didn't have that. So that's why, even though the numbers say protection is only 20 to 50%, I think if you look at protection based not on number of infections, but if you base it on severity of disease, it's actually much more effective. That's a very, very important point to remember. Severity of disease actually will be reduced in a greater number of people. So I would strongly recommend taking the vaccine that's currently available, okay, as a trivalent.